is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 250 of Hobby Hotline. Wow, 250. Man, I tell you what, guys, that new intro kind of makes me feel like I'm walking out in a WWE event or something. I feel the fireworks going off, the pop, 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 like a Cody Rhodes type entrance. But anyway, guys, my name, of course, is Drew, the DH, and joining me today, we've got Mr. Sportball himself, Danny Black. What's up, dude?
What's going on? How you guys doing?
Not much. Then we've also got the man himself, King NASCAR, Logan Ward. What's up?
I'm doing well, man. It's hot and steamy down here in the south.
Dude, it is. It is very, very, very hot. I will agree with you there. Baseball tournament last night was hot and sweaty, and then the kids had red faces for the first time all year, I think.
I can imagine, man.
Oh, absolutely. What's up, everybody? Mad City Brew, Collector's Dream, Clean Cheap Shots, Ruben Snyder, Hodges, everyone else. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, this is your show run by you guys. So please, of course, if you'd like to call in and join the show, and put the link right there in the chat. Simply click on in. Come hang out, talk to us, ask us any questions you may have or anything that you'd like to talk about. That's what we're here to do. Of course, this is your show. Oh, I bet it feels like 100 in South Florida. So that means it's what, like 85? But anyway, guys, I guess we'll dive right into it. We got a lot to talk about today. So guess no better place to start than NBA Finals just wrapping up. A lot of NBA news going on in the hobby right now. Obviously, congrats, I guess, to the Denver Nuggets for beating my Miami Heat. Congratulations, I guess. But congratulations, new champions. Coach sure had a lot of fun at the parade. But I've got a lot of NBA news. But what did you guys think about the finals and Joker? I mean, what's this going to do with Joker and everything?
I mean, I just think he's now got another huge feather in his cap. And I think long-term, this will add stability to his cards, just having 2 MVPs and now the ring. And he's still a young guy. So without a ton of talent around him, I mean, he took him to a title, and they're talking about beefing up even more. So if you're a Joker fan, there might even be more runway. But this peak, probably maxed out right at the finals.
Yeah, I'm proud for Denver, proud for the Joker. I'll be honest with you guys. I kind of lost interest when the Grizzlies choked in the first round. So I lost interest after that since, I live here in Memphis. But I'm glad to see it. I hate that the celebration that they had there in Denver kind of got tainted by some idiots trying to shoot up the place. But I think it was great.
Well, and then the parade was one of the most inebriated parties I've ever seen for a celebration.
Oh, so, I loved it, man. I loved the parade, dude. You had Mike Malone going up there spraying champagne on kids. I freaking loved it. I look down, there's like 5 kids Jude's age, and all of a sudden they're doused with champagne. I'm like, probably could have picked a better section of that big line.
It was more guys without shirts on than Hobby Hotline.
That's very true.
Very, you guys are talking about me, are you?
You mentioned Danny, Jokic's market and everything like that. I think when you said what you had said about the peak right now, I think is dead on. You were really having to, if you were somebody that was trying to make money or something, or make some flips and make some moves on the Jokic market, it was definitely the lead up to the finals, because I think everyone saw it coming. I mean, the Heat were a great team, but I mean, I'm a Heat fan myself. Even I admitted, it's probably going to be them in 6 or less. It just was what it was. And so I think your best bet was to move while the finals were going on, or right at that championship window. But his market as a whole, obviously being a big man, it's going to probably hurt him long term. You look at Duncan and a million other people, and he's very similar to Duncan with attitude, with quiet, not in the media. I mean, Duncan was in the media. Jokic really is not at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but Jokic's numbers are much better also.
Right, and that's what I was going to say is even though I think you're probably going to see some drops in the offseason like you always do, Jokic's putting up numbers now that you really can't ignore. Like what he's doing is pretty ridiculous. And I think you're going to see, this was probably the end of this peak, but I expect his cards to continue to rise over the course of his career because he's young. That team is solid, and I love seeing a team that was built through organic trades in the draft and not chasing that free agent they had to have and overpay and, all that stuff to win a championship. That team was mostly built, through a Carmelo Anthony trade, picking up a couple of small free agents that nobody else wanted, and then drafting. And I like seeing a team like that win a championship.
And they stuck with Jamal Murray through the injuries, which I
forget Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. How many times was Michael Porter Jr. going to be hyped in this hobby before he did anything? I mean, that's a running joke on my show. On Let Me Get That Potograph that just about around Father's Day, which is coming up this Sunday or the week after, it's normally Michael Porter Jr. hype season. This year, he actually, because I mean, once again, everyone, he's coming back from injury. He's going to be amazing. And it never happened. This year, he was, I wouldn't say amazing, but he did what he was supposed to do and at least stayed healthy.
So Jokic probably arrow up. But yes. I think we had an arrow down this week out of Memphis.
Yes, we did have an arrow down out of Memphis. It's big news here. Ja has been suspended for 25 games. I guess that puts him in to December before he gets to start playing next year. So a lot of people not happy. Some people think that it's too harsh. Other people think it's not enough. I honestly thought it was going to be more than that.
Me too.
I was thinking maybe half a season or maybe even a whole season for that. I mean, I thought they were going to be pretty harsh and set an example with him, but I think they were a little bit lenient with him.
Yeah. Well, if he had shot someone with that gun, it would be 25 to life. So maybe that's what they were, going for, just 25 instead. Who knows?
Back in the day, I think it was Olden Polynice brought a gun into the locker room and got a year's suspension.
Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah. So, I mean, this wasn't in the locker room, which I know is a significant difference, but there is a history of suspensions of being a year.
Yep. No, I agree. I thought that suspension was going to be a lot longer. Like you said, Logan, I thought they would really try and send a message here with Ja. But like they said, like Adam Silver said, kind of mysteriously, they found out other information. They still haven't said what that information is, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know if they did. They do their own investigations. There's been reports it was a quote unquote fake gun, which I think is a bunch of crap. But 25 games for Josh. So he's going to miss about a third of the year. Put him back right around Christmas time. But let's be honest, in basketball, does anything really matter before December? No, because look at the Lakers are a prime example. That team didn't try for literally an entire regular season. They played just enough to get into the playoffs, and then they actually started to play basketball. So
then they beat the Grizzlies.
Yeah, exactly. A team that's very, very solid. And so the regular season in basketball, if there's one sport where I think you can miss a ton of time and be perfectly fine, it's basketball. It's absolutely basketball because I would love to see an argument that says the games before Christmas matter, and I just don't think they do.
Well, that's the prevailing argument here in Memphis is, it doesn't matter. He's coming back in December. The team should be fine. They're not, nobody seems to be concerned about it whatsoever.
does it impact players who want to play with Ja or not want to play with Ja?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would think probably not. I don't think that would impact anybody. Um, what I do think it's impacted though is Ja's card prices.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, does that make it a buy opportunity, or is it just
Yes.
sell and stay away?
No, I think it's a buy opportunity. His card price is what, Drew? Are they down at least 40, maybe 50%?
Oh, they're hitting I mean, outside of some of the biggest cards that he has, his general stuff is at all-time lows. I have quite a bit, and I actually had a couple of selects gold at a 10 arrive 3 days before that video came out. So I've watched the fall. I've watched it and seen it happen, but in there's two parts.
Virtual hug, Drew. Virtual hug.
I know, right? But here's the thing: there's a two-part question that you just asked. One, does it affect if others want to play with them? It depends on how Ja comes back. If he comes back and it looks like, and he does a good job of chronicling his comeback, and it shows that maybe he has learned from this. He's got a good system of people around him. I have seen some people reach out, say they want to mentor him, and he's denied that request, which is absurd to me. But it may cause some people to, be hesitant. But I really don't think so because, all right, when LeBron retires, Ja Morant's one of the top guys that has everything you need to be the face of the NBA. He's got the flash. He's got the style. He's outspoken. His game speaks for itself. He's got that more, I don't know, he's more appealing, I guess. Maybe not at this moment, but when he's on his game and when he's not doing something stupid, it's more appealing than a Luka, a Trey, Giannis, people like that because of his flashiness, his style of play. I expect him to be one of the faces of the league in 10 years. I think this is going to be a comeback story, and it is a buy opportunity. It's 100% a buy opportunity because he's coming back. If he was suspended for a year, I'd say no. I would say no, it's not a buy. It's not a great buying opportunity because I don't subscribe to taking a year off and being that much better and having that much hype. Now you only have 25 games. If Memphis is playing in the gutter, which I don't expect them to with Bane and so many other good players on that team. But if he comes back and does good, there's a lot of people that have a lot of money invested in him. And so that's where I see if he comes back and he's doing good, I think he's fine. I think his card market goes right back up. So it is a buy, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. I think it's a buy opportunity. I think long term, if he doesn't do anything stupid again, he'll be fine. I just hope that I really hope that he's learned from this. I mean, one time, you can kind of forgive that. Twice, that's hard to forgive. 3 times, I think 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah. Hobby News Daily here asks, if Ja was a white baseball player in MLB with the NRA sponsorship, people would tell the MLB to go to hell. What's wrong about flashing a gun in a society that rewards it? Are we in glass houses? Well, if this was they kind of gave him a pass. He did it once, and they gave him a couple of suspensions and said he was fine. But then I have a feeling when he came back, pretty sure he got some David Stern type of warnings, some stern warnings on what to do and what not to do. And when you go about it as stupid as he did, and you're right back in the news for the same thing a couple of weeks, months later, and, at some point in time, you probably got to say no. And I guarantee you, if someone in any sport, I think, no matter color or skin or anything, had done the same thing multiple times in the same amount of months after being warned the first time, you're going to get in some type of trouble.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So let's see here. Chasing majors, Kobe was able to rebound. Ja can as well, assuming he wants to focus on basketball. Chasing, that's what I'm saying. Ja he is a lot more than just a so-so type player. He is someone that could become, like I said, I think he easily could be a post LeBron face of the league, one of the guys that has to take over. Now, I don't think when LeBron retires that one person takes over. I think it's going to be multiple, because I don't think we see someone like that. Maybe Wemby, who knows? But that's a couple years of development away, if anything. But someone's going to have to take over that mantle, and Ja is one of those guys that I think has the potential and the talent and just the flair to do that. And I mean, Logan, you can probably comment on this. I know the city of Memphis absolutely loves the man.
Mm-hmm. And the kids idolize him. And I think that's why that's what magnifies this whole situation with the gun, is that, the kids see this and they think, oh, that's cool, but it's not cool. And
right.
So that's one of the things that magnifies this entire situation. So, but like I said, the kids here love him. After games, he's always giving jerseys away, his shoes, whatever. I mean, he's always doing good things for the kids, which I really like that part of what he does. If he can just get past this gun phase, I think he'll be absolutely fine. And like you said, it's definitely a time to buy Ja cards.
Now we've got a couple comments in here that's saying that he got a raw deal. Kyle Katz says, collect NASCAR, expect most drivers own guns. Correct, but I don't think they're flashing them on Instagram while they're riding around in cars. There's a very big difference between owning a gun and how you handle it. Now, what I do think, if this was something besides flashing around on Instagram and doing that stuff that he was doing, the suspension probably would have been less. And should it have been less? Maybe. That's up for debate, and that's on how you feel. But I don't think it's that incident. I don't think they're looking at that video and saying, oh my gosh, this video was so awful, we've got to put him down for a third of the season. I think it has more to do with, okay, dude had a little trouble. We let him off insanely lightly. He might as well have just tweaked his wrist and sat at home for a week and then got to come back, quote unquote, went to one mental, rehab meeting. And then all of a sudden he's back on the court. Okay. They gave him a free pass. Then he chose to show you he didn't learn shit from it. And I'm sorry, but if you don't learn from it and you continue to do it over and over again, I don't care what sport you're in. I don't care who you are. That's not a look that any corporation's going to want, whether it's in sports, whether it's in anything.
It's to me, it's like you're allowed to own a car, but there's still proper ways to handle it.
Yes.
And we need to move past this is not his ability to own a firearm. This is how it was used and how he handled it. And I think, that's really the conversation. This is not a conversation about the Second Amendment. This is a conversation about workplace behavior, discipline, and listening to your boss.
Exactly.
And that's where I am.
Well, and that's the thing is when it is something like guns. Obviously, in America, it's a very, very hot button topic. Everyone wants to, go to a million different areas. But like you just said, this is about behavior. Forget the gun. It could be anything. It could be weed, something they don't even test for in the NBA. But if you're going around flashing it all the time, you get warned, you get a suspension, then you go right back and do it again. They have to put their foot down in some way, shape, or form. They don't want, otherwise it's a quote unquote inmates running the asylum type of deal. You can't let it foster out too much out of control. And was 25 too long? Who knows? I personally don't think it is, and I don't think Ja cares, because I don't think he planned on playing hard in half of those 25 games. I don't. You just can't convince me that NBA players play that hard anyway. So 25 games in the NBA regular season, not bad, honestly.
Yeah, and they said that it's going to cost him like $7 million of his salary to miss that. Do you think that weighs into his his thought process whatsoever, that he's losing $7 million?
How about endorsement money?
That's true, but Nike is still standing behind him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in these days and times of cancel culture, I'm surprised that they didn't say, "Well, sorry, we're canceling your whole line of shoes," but they are staying behind him. So that I think that does say something for him.
Can I bring up a slightly separate topic we didn't talk about?
Absolutely.
Somebody was telling me that Michael Jordan cards were getting a bump from his sale of the Bobcats.
What?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's looked at the numbers on that, but that did happen this week, and it did close. And
we're the Hornets again, by the way.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
I'm showing my age here. But I just thought that was interesting to have his name in the mirror in the news, and I wonder if there really was any reaction.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. I'll tell you right now, as someone that has season tickets to Hornet games and has gone to them for a long time, couldn't get much worse. I mean, he did an awful job here. I mean, he didn't do an awful job here. It wasn't all on him. But there's a lot of people here that are very happy to see that move done, which was surprising to me. There are a lot of people that wanted Jordan out. There were a lot of people that wanted a change because I think a lot of people think that he was making those day-to-day decisions, which he was not. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him get a bump from that because players are getting bumps all over the place. I think it's hilarious. Dalvin Cook, I made a post on social media this week. The second he was cut from the Vikings, his Prism Silver PSA 10 went up 25% over like 30-some sales. His high-end rookie card stuff is up like crazy. So you can get cut nowadays. And as soon as people say, oh, thank God he's out of the Vikings, out of Minnesota, he could go anywhere, you get a spike. So it wouldn't doubt me if Jordan cards saw yet another bump. I think it's safe to say Jordan cards are going to get some type of a bump almost with just about anything he does these days.
Yeah. He was pretty good at basketball.
Yeah, it was all right.
Well, except as an executive, he did draft Kwame Brown with the Wizards. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm still getting over that one.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Let's see, we got some people in the comments here. Frank, at 1778, any more guns are not required. Nobody's coming to steal your property. All right. There we go. Figured all that would go. Let's see. Once again, guys, if you do have any questions or comments or would like to talk about this on the show, call in. We would love to have you guys call in and join the show. I haven't been on in a while, taking care of some family stuff, so I'd love to have a guest come on and say what's up in my first show back in quite some time. Put the link right there back in the chat if anyone would like to jump in. But yeah, back to just the overall thing of Ja. I think personally he's going to be perfectly fine in the long run. I think this is a major buy opportunity. Especially it's a major buy opportunity if you're someone that is going in this looking to speculate and looking to, quote unquote, invest and make money and things like that, because he's a proven talent. The kid can play. No, he hasn't won championships yet, but and I know in basketball, for some reason, that's the most important thing in the world. And somehow in baseball, it's the least important thing in the world. But yes, he hasn't won a championship yet, but he's proven to you that he's an amazing up and coming talent. And so there are much worse places to put your money in with guys that haven't brandished firearms on Instagram multiple times, at least in my opinion. So right now, in my opinion, Ja is a great buy. I know I'm not dumping any of mine.
I like Mike Petty's sarcasm here. I'm trading my 51 Mantle for Victor Wembanyama, 1 of 1 PSA 10 Jeff Wilson. that I think is kind of a lot of people's perspective on the risk of a current player.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that right there. Hey, get that VWEM 101 PSA 10. Go get it. Wemby's going to be some fun to watch, but But guys, we'll move on from Ja.
Wasn't there a bounty? Wasn't there a bounty on the Wemby 101?
I'm sure there is.
I think there might have been. Yeah,
I'm sure there is. I don't doubt that one bit. I did see the Caitlin Clark non-auto was one. But we do have a question here before we move on to another topic from Clean Cheap Shots, who's going to the National for the first time, and any advice for going to the National? And as we're, getting closer to the National, I think it's a appropriate time to give some of those. So let's go around real quick, help Clean Cheap Shots out, and give some of our recommendations for the National. I'll let you go first, Danny.
All right. Well, first of all, wear very comfortable shoes.
Yup.
Be prepared to do a lot of walking, but most importantly, don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk to dealers. Don't be afraid to talk to people at the table looking at the same cards you are. Make friends, ask questions. I just really think the National is 50%. Your attitude going in and just experiencing, getting and sucking all the life out of it like a sponge. So really don't be a wallflower. Really get in there, get your hands dirty, and you'll have a blast.
Well, two things I want to say that are very important: deodorant and breath
yes,
mint.
Please.
Those things are very vitally important.
This is why Logan's ahead of me on the PSA registration.
Right.
The biggest thing is to have fun. I mean, you're going to walk in and it's going to be one of those, you're going to see all these places, all these booths. You're going to want to go here or there. You can't go everywhere the first day. It's going to take several days to actually get through the whole venue. You can't see from one end of the building to the other. It's so massive. And I think they've added like 200,000 square feet this year to this National. So it's going to be as far as size is concerned, the biggest National ever. So don't get overwhelmed. Just take your time. If you're going to be there for several days, have a plan. Like when Val and I do it, we start on aisle 100. There's numbers above the aisles, 100, 200, 300, so on. We start at aisle 100. He takes one side, I take the other side. We ask everybody, hey, do you have NASCAR cards? And we do that, and we go down every aisle. We have a plan, and that's how we attack it every year. That way we try. You're going to miss something, but we try not to miss too much.
Right.
Because there is just so much there. And it helps. It's like what Danny said. It helps to talk to people and ask dealers, because they're not going to have enough room in their cases and on their tables to show everything, right?
Nope.
So they may have something in boxes back behind them. So it's always good if you've got something specific that you're really looking for and that you really are hoping to find, ask. Don't be afraid. The word the dealers can say is, oh no, I left it at home, which is probably the biggest answer you'll hear.
I'm just curious who in the chat is going. And if you are, what tips the chat has.
Right, so,
and if I can piggyback on Logan real quick, the idea of the dealers don't have everything out. They also, don't mind at all being asked about extra product and inventory.
Right.
So
no, 100%. I like all those. A lot of those were on my list, and Logan, you nailed one of the biggest ones, and that's coming up with a plan. One thing that I always do is the NSCC, Ray, and everybody will put out the floor plan as we get closer to the National. A lot of booths will show you where their booth is. I go a step further before even walking down the aisles, and I pinpoint the booths I want to hit first. I pinpoint booths I want to hit, areas I want to hit, and also I have a list of things that I'm looking for. Have a list of things. Have a list of things your friends are looking for. Keep it on your notepad and your phone, because
good point.
It makes it a lot easier when you come up to a booth if you have that stuff written out. You have a plan. If you're going there to buy, if you're going there for the experience, then my best advice is find carpet and walk on it as much as possible. But really, just having a plan, looking at the floor plan, finding stuff out. Ziggy made a great comment. Always look for, there's a ton of giveaways, tons of freebies. A lot of people announce that ahead of time. You can get quite a few awesome things if you're paying attention.
Yeah. Michael, what days are you going? Let us know.
Yes. Please let us know.
And I will add that if you're looking for something specific and you see it, early on, you probably should go ahead and buy it then. Don't think that, hey, the price is going to go down. I may be able to get it a little cheaper later.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, don't say I'm going to come back and grab this on Sunday when he's willing to make a deal, like maybe some weekend card shows, as Chad says, because, I missed out on quite a few at my first national, and I've learned very quickly, if you find something, make that deal, find that deal, and get it done, because it will not be there.
Can I vouch for this? Last year, there was a card. It was a Koufax rookie. Mm-hmm. And which are in the scheme of vintage fairly common, and there's a bunch in the room, but there was one specific one that I really had my eye on, and I said, you know what, I'm going to wait and come back. And when I came back, it was purchased. I later found out that the person who bought the card was John Newman.
There you go.
So out of the entire national, out of all the cards in the room, you never know. So definitely buy the card when you're ready.
A couple of other things too, to as far as advice, bring a battery for your phone to keep your phone charged, because you're going to be on your phone a lot. I mean, I don't look up a lot of comps, but a lot of people do. But I do like to try to communicate with my friends. I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi is much better this year here in Chicago than it was in Atlantic City.
It will be.
That's one thing. And then another thing is, the snacks at the concession stands they're pricey.
Yeah.
So I usually bring a couple bottles of water and some snacks, like maybe granola bars or, a Snickers bar or something like that. Yeah. So have something to keep your energy up, because honestly, I don't want to stop.
No,
I want to keep going. So if I can eat and keep going and look at stuff, I'm cool with that.
100%. A couple of comments here, and Ziggy, this is actually one I was going to bring up. One of the biggest things at the National, even if you're going there just as a general collector in general, meet people, talk to people. Most of my best friends in the world have all come from this hobby and the National. And if you're in this industry at all, or in any way, shape, or form, in the flipping, whatever it may be, selling, own a card shop, anything, business cards, things like that, like Ziggy said, are huge. The networking opportunities there are incredible. We had a question here that I did want to get to. Let me pull it back up. Philly Joe, are there ever any large shows that actually advertise what vendors have in their inventories? Now, the National won't. They might showcase or repost a certain post, but like I said, they'll release a floor plan with the vendors that are there. A lot of vendors, including like the Singles guy. We all know the Singles booth. It's there every single year. They show you tons of stuff and tons of their inventory. Find out who's there. Reach out to them. Watch their socials. A lot of them are very good at showing you what they're going to have and what is going to be available.
And if you're looking for something, don't be afraid to call them in advance, and they might bring a card they wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I had a guy one year, he had a Evel Knievel set that was graded, from back in the 70s. And I said, can you bring it to the National? I'd like to look at it and I might buy it. And he brought it. I looked at it and I ended up buying it. So that's a good example.
And it seems like everybody in the chat got a Koufax rookie cheap but me. So, I appreciate that. So if anybody else has one they want to get rid of for 2015 prices, or a Bill Ripken rookie, let me know.
So
Mike D, the vintage Japanese dealer. Yes, one of my favorite booths every year.
Yeah, he's got a great display of cards. It's nothing that I collect, but it's very very interesting to look at.
Yep.
Hey, talking about friendships and things.
Mm-hmm.
I actually met Val at the PSA luncheon at the National. It's
Yeah.
been 16 years ago or something, and now he's my best friend. And we do our own podcast and all that. So it just goes to show you, just like you guys say, so many good friendships can be born at the National. So again, don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And you never know what can happen. You never know what can blossom out of the National. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, and clean cheap shots, as you said, will dealers consider trades along with cash? 1000%. Dealers at the National are very, very open to moving their stuff. A lot of them will do straight up trades. A lot of them. And also, they don't want to, you keep this in mind. They got to put all that stuff back up when the National's done. The less inventory they can bring home, if they brought it there, 99% chance, unless it's got one of those astronomical, 100K price tags on it, they don't want to pack it back up. So they are willing to look for deals that you will absolutely be able to do half cash, half trades, full on trades, anything with all sorts of dealers. It's just going to depend on that actual dealer, but never go in thinking I have to have the cash price, because a million dealers are going to be willing to work with you, especially at a show like the National. Because let's say you get in early, you find one of these deals early. Well, now that guy's got another card from a trade he can sell all weekend as well. So it's a lot different than a 1 or 2 day show.
Yeah. And Drew, going along with that, cash is king at the National.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Don't depend on being able to use PayPal, Venmo, whatever. Because one thing is, you don't know how the infrastructure is going to be for the wireless and things to be able to do that. But secondly, a lot of dealers, I'll just say this, they prefer cash.
Well, and also you're seeing there was a bunch at the Hickory show Moxville show that I just went to, and a lot at a couple other shows I've seen where a lot of people are doing credit card chargebacks on a lot of Square payments post shows now, because there's no trail of discussion. There's no screenshots that you can send, things like that. So yes, a lot of people will take cards and everything like that. But like you said, cash 1000% king. Cash and cards, that's what you need to have. Comfortable shoes, deodorant, please shower, even if you don't sleep. And even if you don't shower, extra deodorant. Even throw on some awesome Axe body spray if you have to and be a bro. But do whatever you need to do.
Or be Mr. Way Too Much Cologne wearer.
I'd rather have that. I'd rather have that. I would rather have that than the alternative.
when you're sitting at the dollar boxes for a little while, it becomes much more crucial.
Yes.
It's like sitting next to somebody on an airplane.
Very, very true.
Indeed.
So hope that answers a couple of questions about the National clean cheap shots. Make sure to find us when you come there. I know Danny, Logan, myself, Mr. Newman. I think just about almost everyone here at Hobby Hotline will be at the National, and come say hey, make some new friends. We'd love to meet all of you guys that we haven't met before. A lot of y'all in the comments I recognize and have met. Can't wait to see you guys again. But the networking, the friendships, that's one of the best things and my favorite thing about the National. I love seeing you guys every year, and just the whole scope of everything. But it can be overwhelming. So what Logan's first thing is probably most important outside of deodorant, and that is plan. Plan. If you go into it without a plan, you are going to get completely lost. It's going to be way too overwhelming.
Yes,
and it's a good show for anybody buying. If you're a set collector, a player collector, I mean, any type of collecting you do will be at this show. Yep. So don't think it's just high-end cards or all the stuff you see on social media from the auction houses. It is for everybody.
I'm going there to complete this Bryce Williams Prism Rainbow. Literally, Bryce Williams, 3 $5 cards. So there you go.
And speaking of that, I'm a niche collector. I'm a NASCAR guy. So is Val. There's a lot there for us as well. I mean, it's not like baseball cards or anything like that, of course, but we find a lot of stuff. I came home with a nice cache of cards last year. I assume it'll be the same way this year. I'll find good deals. It's definitely worth going no matter what you collect, what style of collecting you have. Even if you collect memorabilia, because I like memorabilia too. It's all there.
Oh
And
yeah.
they say that if it's not the national, it doesn't exist. I will have to disagree with that because I'm still looking for a 1972 Fred Lorenzen STP card with him in his car. Never seen it there.
There you go. Dennis, I know to answer your question, I don't know our booth number, but I do know I'll be set up in the corporate area at the Wax Pack Gem Mint booth, taking in PSA submissions and doing a lot of content for Let Me Get That Potograph and some other stuff. I don't know if you guys are set up as well, but I know I'll be in the corporate area. I believe right next to eBay, I believe is where we're at. So that's where I'll be most of the weekend, at least.
We'll just be the wandering nomads. Val and I will be around.
Yep.
We'll have some stickers and buttons to give to people, stuff like that. So come check it, come talk to us. That's the biggest thing about the
buttons
national.
are my favorite, man. They're on all my national hangs up here. There's one of them. I got so many buttons from you guys.
We got stickers.
Oh yeah, we'll have a ton of stuff up as well.
But I guess to sum up the national for me, and I'll say it in this one phrase, it's my family reunion. That's what it is.
Yep.
I can't wait to see everybody every year. That's, to me, that is the most important. The older I get, it's like Christmas. It used to be when you were a kid, it was all about presents. Now Christmas is all about, being with a family and all that. That's the same thing for me with the national. It's just to go and see my friends. The cards are great, but to me, that's the most important thing because I can't wait to see you guys. I can't wait to see all my friends.
Could not say it better, Logan. Absolutely.
Well, hope that helps with the question, and look forward to seeing you there at the national, man. But guys, let's move on now. I know there was one thing we wanted to touch on here for a little bit, and that was some big news that came out this week, and that, of course, was eBay dropping a little info on everybody, and everybody knows eBay kind of setting themselves up with some eBay lives and things like that, branching off from being just a selling platform. And they gave some breakers some very, very unfortunate news. They are now requiring, if you want to sell your break spots on eBay, they are requiring you to actually be a registered breaker. No longer can you just, if I went to Walmart and grabbed 10 optic blasters, I can't go list my 10 to 20 teams anymore, on eBay just to sell them. You've got to be authorized. What do you guys think about this? And, what effect do you think that it's going to have on some of the smaller breakers? Obviously, big breakers in the industry, this doesn't affect at all.
Well, I honestly think it's a good thing that they're doing this because the breaking industry as a whole is getting a very bad rap just because it's just like anything else. Just because of a few bad apples, it taints it for everybody. And so I think if eBay can weed out the breakers that are not, doing what they're supposed to do, we'll just say that. I think that's a good thing.
Yep. Now Ziggy has a great question. Does anyone know anyone that was approved by eBay? I haven't talked to anybody yet. It does look like from Warrior Cards that it was a random decision. I haven't spoken to anyone. I'm going to assume they're going to look at volume and things like that. I'm just happy because now when I go to search for a hobby box, I don't have to put in all the extra search terms or type in sealed as much to actually find a hobby box as opposed to 8 million different random spots.
Well, there was, I think, some people that have been approved.
Yes.
Already.
Yeah. It says Mama Breaks was, She Breaks there, Mike Petty answering. And those were people that I assumed. And I think,
to Logan's point, doesn't this add legitimacy?
Yes, it has to. And honestly, and I'm curious if you were a breaker that was selling and most of your selling of your brakes was on eBay, well, were most of your sales on eBay, or were you dumping the extra teams? Like, I don't know too many breakers where they're, or at least bigger breakers, or ones that I see consistently where their main outlet of moving teams is eBay. I always saw that as the people that couldn't fill some teams. Some teams were maybe a little too high, or it was just sitting stagnant, and so they throw them up on eBay to fill the break and make everyone happy. But then you do see a lot of people who list their entire breaks on there. I'm just curious to see how many people actually relied on that as their focal point of breaking, because it wouldn't be the route that I would choose. So I'm just curious.
No, I think there's a lot of other platforms that specialize in breaking. I think a lot of the bigger breakers have their own platforms, to be honest. And, if you break with anybody like that, or anybody who's been breaking for a long time, there are many platforms. So to me, this is just one platform. Fanatics, also screens their breakers. So I think anybody who's, a marketplace with multiple breakers wants to stay away from some of the whatnot problems. So it doesn't surprise me, that there's some sort of oversight that they're trying to put in place, because the whatnot really, really had a hard time.
Absolutely. And Ziggy, yes, of course they bring new blood into their community, and nobody's saying there's anything wrong with eBay breaks. It obviously will get more people in. We actually have Ziggy calling in, so let's bring him in. Nice. I did get a guest on my request, and it's my man Ziggy. No, what's good, buddy?
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me on. Appreciate
Michael,
it.
Are you definitely not sure if you're coming?
I'm not sure. No, man, I won't know till like that week or week before. I've got a cybersecurity conference going on that same week for work, so I need to. I might fly through Chicago and make it. But I definitely would not be a guy who goes for the whole time. Just not something I could even try. Too many things in the world. Got the new baby as well, so it's just a.
Congratulations!
Congratulations, Miles.
I know. Crazy, isn't it? So anyway, I'll tell you this breaking topic is very, very personal to me. Okay. And I'll tell you that because I buy into breaks all the time, and I typically buy from the same people. But when I'm chasing a product, and I'll give you an example, Monopoly is a perfect example. Monopoly Prism, I love that product. Most breakers do not have that product, right?
Yeah.
In order to get that, you have to get it from guys who are hustling. They're the kitchen breakers, right? They're the guys going out to Target. Mm-hmm. If it was going through the regular channels, the regular distributors, I would pay a lot more for that product. And that would piss me off. So I would tell you right now, by eBay canceling or cutting off the eBay breakers, they're actually making it competition less, which makes it harder for me as a consumer. I'm being forced now to specific breakers. One I think got approved is Badger Brakes, and I love Badger Brakes. I've used him for years. He's been on Facebook. He's built a phenomenal community. But I'll be honest. I look at his prices and I look at other prices. I can get better prices from kitchen breakers who are breaking their own product. So now I'm going to be forced to pay more. And that to me is a huge red flag. Now, everybody's thinking about the breakers. And for the breakers, I will say, I've also been one who's against the kitchen breakers. There's too many of them. I think there should be a higher bar. And here's what I think the problem is, guys, is we're going to see the same channel situation we had in the past. Fanatics is going to force the channel. Channel's going to pick breakers, whether you're on eBay or you're on Fanatics or you're on whatnot, whatever stream it is. But me, the consumer, I'm getting hurt. That is the biggest concern I see about that. Less competition, less pricing data, because now when I look at prices, I'm not seeing more competition. You see what I'm saying? So that to me, I'm very, very worried about. I do think this will organically work its way out, but as a consumer, we as consumers should be concerned. That's where we're going to pay the most, because those eBay prices also keep the PYT prices, right? If you're a breaker building PYT, you got to know what's going out there. Your brakes aren't going to fill if I can go on eBay and get it, right? So now that's to me the biggest red flag, and I don't think anybody's talking about that, right? Is that the consumer is going to be hurt the most by eBay's decision. Now, I do think alternate solutions are out there. Macari, I'm even going to look at Whatnot now. And I don't like Whatnot. See what I'm saying? So there'll be.
No, I do agree with what you said about especially customers and people that are buying into breaks. It definitely does limit your options. And you mentioned Fanatics as well, another company that's going to be Well, they're launching their platform. They're going to be doing verified breakers and things like that. So that's another, way that could also hurt consumers as well. And I also do agree with you that there are way too many kitchen breakers, but
Mm-hmm.
like you said, a lot of those people might be the ones that can get the product that you
Yep.
like. I'm someone like you that's gotten into a lot of Monopoly Prism breaks. I've gotten into a ton of them. They're hard to find.
I love them.
And eBay is somewhere where they were there for a long time. And so I see this as eBay trying to legitimize themselves as a whatnot type of, legitimizing quote unquote their new platform for eBay Live and all that. But like you said, it does come with a detriment to the overall consumer as well.
I think this is being driven by pre-regulation. I think eBay is looking at this. That's why I think even Sports Card Radio said they want to see the terms that these breakers have to sign up for. I think that is what's driving this, because I do think we all are very aware. Government lags, but after 2 or 3 years of booming sports card prices, they're coming after taxes. They're coming after regulation. They're going to come after ways to stop kids. And I will say I do support this. Too many kids can get into an eBay break. It's easy to do that, right? So this will limit that too. Here's what I wish we would do as a community. I wish we would do more to self-regulate, would do more to organize our voice. And because here's what they're not listening to. They're not listening to the consumer, right? No, it seems like no one of these big companies are listening to the people. They're making
after Whatnot had all their issues, everybody said they wanted more oversight.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think we made a bigger deal out of the Whatnot things. Here's the issue with breaking.
Very much so.
When these people are screaming about I got scammed, what they did is they lost the big card. They most likely got their money back. You don't buy into a break and not protected by your credit card or your bank. You're not going to lose the money. There's no risk, in my opinion, of buying into a break as long as you're smart, use your credit card or whatever, your protection. What you lose out on is a guy who opens a card. He goes, shit, I pulled a $10,000 card, and am I going to send this to a guy to make a breaking business, or am I going to sell the card, quit breaking? And that is a decision many of these guys make. Oh, well, I'll just keep the card, dude. And that is why you need some regulation in there. But that is the risk. And that's why people cry, oh, I lost my 1-1. You lost the upside. You're still protected. And again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. But Whatnot did,
it's wrong. That's why you get into the break.
I understand, but my point is those few scams made everybody just complain that breaking's bad. You see what I'm saying? Like, everybody thinks breaking's bad. And one of the things I've been working on in the last 2 months, all these breaks I got into, I've hit some major cards from some guys who have little businesses, and every one of those cards is shipped to me, no problem. I haven't had a single issue. In fact, one guy wanted his way to insure it, to send it overnight, because he wanted to make sure I got the card. He wanted to make sure I posted the card so he could tell his friends about it. So my point is, I think we overreact with a few stories where people are complaining about stuff and don't really focus as consumers on how do we make this better. Like, for example, breakers should come out with a code of ethics, a self-regulated code of ethics. Here are the things I'm going to do as a breaker. I'm going to have 2 cameras on at all time. I'm going to make sure I ship within 3 days. They could do this, and then other breakers would come around it. But if they're all sitting around waiting for the platforms to tell you what to do, well, then we as consumers are going to have less choices. So I wish we as consumers, as the hobby, and this is my biggest complaint in general, I wish we did more to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And I think we can still. I mean, if you go to the National, it's the one reason to go to the National. Meet people to voice what you think so we can make it better, guys. Those numbers do make a difference, right? Telling tops at the booth, hey, I don't really like this or I love that. They actually have people there who listen.
Yes.
Your complaint about the redemptions, about how long it takes you to get in line, they're more likely to give you an extra white box. Or I don't know. I'm not going to make a promise, but my point is they care. But we got to make our voice louder and listen to, I guess, a little more. Listen to some of the backstories. Like, why are things being done? My big question is, why is eBay doing this? I think we'll see in a few weeks or months. Regulation might be coming in with DraftKings getting in, Fanatics getting in. Right? I think these guys are looking at, hey, breaking has revenue, but we need to line our ducks up and do this right. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But
I absolutely think regulation's coming. And you made one incredible point coming back to our national talk, and that is that the companies there are willing to listen. And the only way that we are going to be able to make change and make positive strides in this industry is to talk to those people, voice your opinions, voice your concerns, not just on social media, not hiding behind a screen, but face-to-face interaction with people that care.
And show your passion, not your anger.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Show your love for why. Like, I'm frustrated about stuff, but show them why you're frustrated, and they understand. Dude, we are the craziest bunch of fanatics in the world.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, I got to drop off. I really appreciate your time. I really, really do, and I thank you guys very much.
Well, thanks
Good
for
to see
coming on, buddy. It's good to see you. And once again, congrats on the newborn, my man.
Thanks, man.
Hope to see you in Chicago. Once again, thank you, Ziggy, for calling in. Good friend for a long time. Hopefully get to see you in Chicago, brother. But a lot of, what do you guys think? A lot of good points there. I do think that this, it does affect the customer quite a bit, but it also affects a lot of breakers. This is affecting a lot, and I do think Warriors Cards has a great comment here. I do think this is Fanatics influencing eBay. I think eBay sees what Fanatics is doing. eBay's launching their own live platform, and obviously they're going to be competing against each other. They have to be. I mean, to see who's going to be on what. They're going to be want to be that top breaker or the top platform for breaking, just like Whatnot did. Maybe one of them will have a whole row at the National again. I doubt Whatnot will this year, but that's probably a good thing. But yeah, great stuff, Ziggy. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, so there's going to be, that's another thing about the National. There is a Breakers Pavilion at
Yes.
the National. So another good reason you can catch up with your favorite breakers and things like that as well.
Yeah. Oh God, I had to work that breaking pavilion last year. I was there till midnight every night. I'm so glad I'm not doing that this year.
It was very loud next to the main stage.
It was brutal.
Yeah, it was very loud.
Brutal. Warrior Cards, anytime we cut the small guys, it is a bad thing. I do agree. But I do think, to Ziggy's point and our point earlier, that regulation is needed in breaking in some way, shape, or form, I think.
Yeah.
And I do think it is coming. When you have DraftKings, when you have, Fanatics now opening a sports book also in certain states, when you have all this stuff going on, that's going to bring a lot more government eyes on everything. But also, I think we're getting to a point now where I don't know if it's going to be a company that comes in and tries to say, hey, we want to be the people that help regulate this. I don't know if it'll be someone from the outside, but I do think some type of regulation in terms of breaking will probably come in the next, I'm not saying this year, next 5-10 years. I do see that happening.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys, do you think the government may see this as a form of gambling?
I think they do in some forms, and that's why it's been regulated on what types of breaks you can do on different platforms. And the more money that's in there, the more they're going to look at it.
Yep. No, absolutely. I think they probably look at it in a way as gambling, but I mean, it to an extent, yes, but to the extent of something where they're going to jump in and say it's illegal or anything like that, I think they would have jumped on that a long time ago. And I don't think you would see eBay, Fanatics, people like that building platforms to do it if they were that concerned with it. Those are the people that I think are going to be talking to the people that are saying if it's legal or not. And I just don't see them doing that at all. But the idea of breaking in general, yes, it is gambling. But honestly, opening a box in general, opening a pack in general, all of that is gambling. You're gambling on what you're going to get. You have no idea of what you're going to get. I mean, we can take gambling and use a very loose definition of it and call every single thing every time we open a pack, it's a gamble. It all depends on how you want to use the word and everything. I don't think it's something where they're going to come out and say this is illegal, you can't do it anymore. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of regulation.
Agreed. I'm sure eBay is going to get these breakers to sign some kind of agreement or something going forward.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see, and I'm actually going to look for it. I really want to see the terms and conditions that they have.
Somebody will put it out there. It'll be out there.
Yeah, I looked for it and haven't seen it yet.
Yep. Mookie Chilson says, isn't this just eBay self-regulating? They want to keep Uncle Sam away, show they're doing it themselves. What do you guys think? I mean,
Well, I think they're self-regulating, not for Uncle Sam, but so they don't end up in sued by somebody,
right?
Or end up with a massive problem, for people who are not being
right. No, I agree with you, Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Clean Cheap Shots. I just put you up on the screen, so the feds are going to find out.
Hey, I was the same way. I was hoping I would get Pete Rose.
I know. I was sure of it. All right. Well, guys, it is top of the hour. Anything else on eBay or anything this week you guys would like to discuss, or any final thoughts on everything?
Well, I don't know if you wanted to hit real quick on the Nash cards thing with the bounty.
Sure, absolutely. Actually, pretty cool. For those of you that aren't aware, Jake LaRavia, who was one of the rated rookies this year in basketball, he signed one of his cards with a Nash Cards inscription. Go to Nash Cards and a smiley face. It was one of his gold autographs. It was really cool, really awesome having the inscription in there. I know he's local. That is his card shop he goes to visit, but he chose to put in the Nash Cards inscription on one of his cards, on one of his golds. Well, it was finally pulled. Nash Cards had a bounty out for $5,000 if you pulled it, $10,000 if you pulled it in store. Well, it looks like the guys over at Blez did pull it. Yep. And so somebody, it looks like, is getting that bounty, unless they're going to hold it hostage from Nash Cards, which I couldn't imagine anyone doing.
I doubt it.
I mean, how cool is this?
I love it.
Yeah, this is what we want the good part of the Fanatics effect to be.
Yes.
I mean, we want athletes to be more involved. We want it to be more personal. I love every time an athlete signs a card and says, my first card signing, anything that they add to it to add personality, to me is just a win. There's no downside. I love that, good for Nash Cards for having a relationship with the guy who was willing to do that, so I just think it's nothing besides just cool.
Oh, no, I agree. My favorite, of course, I always think back to Benny Montgomery when he was doing his almost mini drawings on some of his cards, doing the Benny and the Jets and drawing the airplanes. I believe Jordan Lawler did a couple other ones. A lot of these guys that are getting into it, that's something that I really hope. I've seen a lot of signings lately where some of the players are circling the serial number and saying jersey number and writing that on it, things like that. I think it's really the next step. And I do find it funny that those guys write the inscriptions better than they sign their own name, but we'll get into that, on another show. But I think the inscriptions and things like that are awesome. Anything you can do, like you said, to more personalize the card, not make it feel like it's just another auto, things like that is perfect. And with Fanatics coming in, obviously this was a Panini card, but with Fanatics coming in, their main goal, they said, was to get athletes closer to the consumer. This is a great way to do that. This is a wonderful way to do that, whether it be, I'd like to honestly see redemptions one day where if they're truly not signed and we have to have a redemption, that you can almost request an inscription, as long as it's, doable and, not going to piss a lot of people off or, problems that could arise. But the inscriptions, the extras, the cool stuff on this, it's fun. I mean, that, and also, Jake LaRavia just made, how many Jake LaRavia cards are selling for $5,000? Let's be honest here.
It's like zero in the office.
This one.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So if you can provide value to those, even if it's to just those people, but if you can provide any type of extra value, anything, I think it's awesome. And I think it's one of the cool things that we're starting to see in the hobby now. I've always liked to see Bible verses and things like that written on cards, but I'm loving the going above and beyond. And some of these guys looking like they're actually having fun fulfilling their contract and signing cards, and not just sitting there going, I'm done.
Yeah.
Maybe have some fun with it. So I love it. I think it's great.
I love it too, and we see it a lot, even in NASCAR with a lot of the autographs. Dale Jr.'s done some things. Joey Logano has done some things. It's really neat, and of course everybody's chasing those in the breaks. Trying to find those cards.
It's somehow made like a second tier autograph level in the hobby.
Yeah,
it is.
No, absolutely. I love it. And so hopefully the guys over at Nash Cards can get that soon. I have a feeling it's probably already in the mail to them. But really cool card. Love that Jake LaRabia did that. Like I said, he's big in the hobby. He gets into a lot of breaks. He's been a collector since well before he was drafted. And I know he's a common customer over there and lives in that area, obviously playing for the Grizz.
Yeah, he's around here. So, and we do have a Nash Cards LCS that opened up. I think it's been over a year ago now.
Yeah,
here in Memphis. So,
very nice location. I got to visit it. It's awesome. It's a nice.
You were here and didn't look me up.
Well, it was a drive-through. We were there for about an hour.
I'm gonna whoop you when I see you.
I know.
And this is what you can look forward to at the National.
Yes.
I'm coming for you, Drew.
I'll just add you to the list of people that threatened me at the National. Logan. All right, got it.
Yeah.
List is long, but
wow.
All right. Well, guys, we want to wrap up this week's episode. I think that's probably a good stopping point here. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. As always, we are live every single Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to check out Hobby News Daily. Got a lot of cool stuff up there. And we'll have a lot of cool information regarding the National and a lot of other stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the show today. Thanks for having a call in. I was hoping we'd get a caller on my first show back in a long time. Feels good to be back. But Danny, Logan, always a pleasure, guys.
Yep.
Thanks,
Happy
Drew.
Father's Day, everybody.
Yep.
Yes, happy Father's Day to all those dads out there. Y'all have a good one, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.